Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday night, everyone. I'm T.U. Knapp, and I'm thrilled to pieces to be here and welcome my good friend, Dr. Michael Gross.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
We have a powerful message for you today, so I'll just introduce Michael for those of you who are new and haven't met him yet, but I'll just do a very quick recap because I'm going to put all his contact information in the comments so that you'll be able to connect with him later. All right. Dr. Michael Gross is a professional keynote speaker, an energy transformational coach, an entrepreneur, and the author of The Spiritual Primer, applying God's 12 transformational laws to reawaken your soul by reconnecting to God, the true source, to experience your true source's love, joy, and happiness. For over 30 years, Dr. Michael Gross has been a spiritual teacher, a multidimensional healer, a transformational coach who's exceptionally skilled in all aspects of soul, oversoul, vibrations, frequencies, your body, timing, life force energies, and a whole lot more. He has a plethora of experience. Like I said, over 30 years, I think he's knocking on the door of 40 years, right? Right.
Yes.
He's he's worked like in many different aspects, and truly, 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 he has changed my life. I am so honored and blessed that he takes every Thursday night with me to share his words of wisdom in this podcast. So I'll just say the topic today is your path in life. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Michael, and I'll put his contact info in the comments, okay?
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to you. Thank you for joining me. When I was talking to what I call the true source and asking what I should talk about, it was brought up talk about your path in life. Now that I think about it, it's so apropos. As we know, there are so many changes going on in this planet. Some of you are following me in the United States, some of you are following me in other countries. Everything is changing politically, emotionally, mentally, physically, businesses, everything is going on. And so many people are becoming divided, believing in one thing or another thing. Also, they're divided politically and also emotionally, physically, mentally, emotionally wise, worried about money, worried about their health, what direction they're taking in life, what's going to happen. And I wanted to address that tonight because the true source said that's what we're going to address. I said, okay. I've learned never to argue because I always lose. But it's actually a winning thing for me and for you because when we listen to our soul or true inner source guidance, everything happens for a reason. What I'd like to address is if you're having some chaos in your life, and we all are to some extent, chaos can be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that's going on. There's a reason why it's going on. And the reason is, I don't know. And the reason I say I don't know is because you have to address that. Why is this in my life? What am I to learn from it? And how do I accept it and move forward? So, for example, if you're worried about the division that's coming in your country and politically divided, you ask, well, what am I to learn from it? Well, one of the things I found out for me is to use critical thinking. Don't take everything at face value. At the same time, being neutral and not trying to judge. That's the real challenge because people are taking sides. This person, this situation, and vice versa. And they're very passionate about it. But the one item I want you to really address is if you're taking sides because you don't want to be wrong, there's a fatal flaw in your thinking. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be criticized. I understand. However, when you look at what's going on in your life, your family, your friends, your loved ones, politically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's happening for a reason. And the reason is that on this planet, we're coming to a precipice of great change. I would like to say it would happen tomorrow morning, but this is the unfortunate part. Till the planet wakes up, human wise, to really understand what we desire in life, then we have to understand that all the chaos is going to exist until we finally figure out what's important to us. So many things are going on with illegal aliens in the United States and other countries, and they want to be compassionate and so on and so forth. And that's a beautiful, wonderful thing to have. But what are those coming into us countries in agendas? health, joy, happiness, freedom. Perfect. Or maybe it's some other subterfuge, terrorist energies to disrupt your country or whatever it may be, or maybe some religious factor, whatever that may be. However, looking at all the countries, and I think there's one, I can't remember, Lester, Timor Leste, something like that, that doesn't require a visa. Pretty interesting, and you can stay there for 30 days. It's a third world country. It looks, I happen to run across it, looks like a beautiful country. Getting back to, there's a process we have to follow. And the process to coming in this country or any country is you have to have a passport, get a visa with some countries, and follow the rules. Well, we have rules for a purpose. And the rules for a purpose is that to keep continuity. And you know, my mother used to say, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Well, it's a new cliche. I suppose some of you have heard of it. In other words, you follow the rules of each country. Whether you agree with them or not, you go along with it. If you're unhappy about it, what you do is vote the people in who will change the rules according to your thinking. But let's look about our thinking. Let's really examine it. Many, many eons ago, the United States was discovered, let's say, as a colony of England to get away from tyranny. High taxes, control, manipulation by King George, imprisonment, all kinds of rules and regulations that people found it hard to live with. They were virtually like serfs or in slavery. So they came to America to establish freedom. And then, of course, King George tried to rule us, and we had a big war, and we won in the United States. Many other countries that were under the yoke of England finally were breaking away and developed their own freedom. But it's most important to understand is that we have to appreciate what we have. You have to appreciate what you have. Those souls coming here have to appreciate what they have. And they have to come here for the right reason, and they have to go through the documentations to go through it. Now, I'm not trying to be politically, I'm trying to explain something. Because in the days that we had the great migration from Europe and other countries back in the early 1900s, and they came to Ellis Island and they were processed, of course, they got to make sure they were healthy. If they're not, they were sent back. And they would read the papers they had that came from some country. And one of the first things they had to do, they had to find a relative they knew. And what are our needs? Food, clothing, and shelter. So obviously they needed shelter. So some relative or someone took them in. There was no welfare system, none of that. It existed. I think the churches had some, welfare system to help others. But basically they would find someone to live with. Once they had shelter, the next thing is get a job immediately. And they didn't speak English, so they went into little areas, conclaves, where if they were Russian or German or Italian or French, they would work in those areas because they could speak the language. Eventually, they were forced to speak English. They had no choice. And then when they were forced to speak English, then they began to expand their horizons. And as they expanded their horizons and made money, they would rent an apartment or whatever was available. They had money to buy food. And of course, then there was the need for clothing. And many of the families, if you read in those times, what they did was they handed down the clothing from child to child. Gosh, they didn't have any money. And I remember my mother saying when she was growing up, and it was in the New York area, they were going through, didn't have much money. And of course, there was some of the depression and things were going on. In those days, they had leather soles. And when they wore out, her mother put cardboard inside the soles, and that's what they would do. And they weren't made fun of or anything like that. That was just the common way of life. And although there were prejudice, like, I talked to my father and he said the French hated the Germans, Germans hated the Spanish, everybody hated everybody. And there were biases. And I said, why? He said, I don't know. Our parents hated them, so I did. It was just something they went along with. But there really wasn't that much violence. But when they went to school in America, they were trained to become Americans. They sang our national anthem, they pledged the flag of allegiance, and they had to learn to get along with one another. Now, outside of school, maybe they got into some fights or whatever, but it was not a big, terrible thing. That's the point. We learn how to work within the system and work with each other. Now we have a great system. Oh, we give you welfare, and that could be a good thing. And we give you money and free food and all these things. But we're ignoring in all our countries those who really also need the help. So, where do you draw the line and what do you do? And that's the most important thing for us to understand. What are our value systems and what is our life path? The reason I'm saying all that is for a specific reason. I know Tia would like to say something. Go ahead.
I wanted to share a comment with you, Michael. Inga just posted that her parents arrived at Ellis Island with only one suitcase. And me being a Canadian, my family ended up immigrating there. My mom, and I never knew this before, but there's a place in Halifax very, very similar to Ellis Island. I believe she only had one suitcase too. So they honestly, the people that you're talking about, they didn't have much.
Yes, and the difference is they were getting away from tyranny or persecution or whatever was going on, and they had this innate ability that, yeah, we could use a little help, but we're going to make a life for ourselves. They didn't sit back and they ask for a handout. And of course, when they're coming over here and they need a little handout, I believe that's a wonderful thing, but you have to draw the line. And since having friends that work for different government agencies, she said there are second and third generations that have not worked, and they're getting all kinds of, financial support, food, and so on and so forth. So there's a malaise that's going on. But if we bother to think about this, and that's where I'm really going now deeply within this, having laid a little bit background and not criticizing people who, are looking for work or having trouble for getting work. However, you wrote your life. In other words, you are the sole designer of your life, and you decided to come to America or Canada or Sweden, France, wherever you decided. And you decided to make life anew. And thank goodness in our society today, there's some assistance available, which is wonderful. But now we are being emotionally torn apart. And that's the grand plan of negativity, to tear you apart, to make you have a separate country, one fighting against the other. I was looking for another word. And we have to understand, look what happened during the Civil War. Brother against brother, family against family, so on and so forth. And really, it was over slavery, which had to do with the economic systems. And that went on for a while. And eventually it took a long time, but healing took place. And of course, with some of the minorities, whatever they were treated poorly, and there were laws passed to treat them equally, since they were American citizens by that time, because they had been born in the United States. And eventually we created parity. Will there always be 100% actually parity? No, there won't. You know why? Because depending upon your education, I could not go and become a nuclear engineer because I don't have any training in it. And, you could say that's far fetched, but it isn't. There's no parity in that because I don't have the knowledge. Or if I wanted to become an air traffic controller, I haven't been on a train, so I don't. There's no parity there because I don't qualify. So we have to stop what we're saying. This racist and all this stuff. We have to look at qualifications, and the qualifications in our life are what you choose to do. What direction do you want to go into? I, having had many different things that I did in my career, ended up what I'm doing now. This is my passion. This is what I love. And I learned earlier, not too much earlier, about 15 years ago, was in my Akashic records. For those of you who aren't aware of the Akashic records, it's your mission and goal you chose to do in this lifetime. Well, you're saying, do I have to do it? No, you don't. But you signed up to do it. So if you didn't do it, that's okay. You may have to come back and do it on another planet or another area or whatever it may be. The most important thing is to find a harmony and balance in your life. And I'm looking at the time, and I've got more time to go more deeply into it. Tia, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, we have another comment here, and I think that this is a perfect time to share this because um, Darshan joined us, and he said, "I'm discovering my new life path as a result of my rollover car accident." And I know that we all have turning points in our life, right? Things happen that govern us in certain directions. Can you um, speak on that a little bit?
Well, I want to finish with life path and I'll get back to it. But
Okay.
what's really important for all of us to understand is that, all right, so you created your life, you're doing all those things in your life. But really, most importantly, I want to talk about what makes your heart sing. And that's not a phrase from me, it's a phrase from the true source that I did hear from someone else. So, what makes your heart sing? What brings you joy and happiness? It's not money. Tip, it's not money. It's what your passion is to enjoy. And that will make you successful in life. Because, when it's all over and said and done with, you can't take your money with you. You can't take your gold and silver. You can't take your house or cars. All you take with you is your knowledge, what you learned and grew, and what you achieved or didn't achieve, and understanding about unconditional love. If we understand that, and you wrote your life path, I had a change coming about in my life path, not as dramatic as Darshan. But I did tell Darshan he has something really very powerful to do in his lifetime because he could not be with us at this time. And he could be celebrating with champagne and caviar and a martini stirred, not shaken, on the other side. But he chose to be with us and do some wonderful work. So I honor you, and all of you, I honor you for listening, because I desire all of you to know that this great change is coming. And how does a change come? It's a vibration, frequency, and energy that forces things that are hidden or buried deep within your subconscious and unconscious mind to now come forth and to heal with it. To heal, you have to address it. To address it, you have to feel it. To feel it, you have to understand it. To understand it, you declare, now I understand what I have to learn. I bless and release and move it forward. Do not get locked into that emotion because once you've learned it, it's over and done with. You're finished. Now you have a new slate. It's like you're being an artist. You got a blank canvas. And that's what we're all going through now. You have the ability to redesign your life according to your soul and what makes your heart sing. That's most important. Some of you have had serious illnesses that are listening to this. Some of you have had disasters of relationships. Some of you have felt like you're a square peg in a round hole. I felt that all my life. So some of us have felt all those things. But what's occurring at this time is that you have designed at this time to be here on this planet at this time to be a force of change, to be a force of enlightenment, to be a force of unconditional love, to be a force to change the attitude of everyone on this planet. That it's not all about materiality. It's about experience the joys and happiness of life. As I talk to so many people, and I'll give you something simple. I've talked to some that have had a knee operation. They said, "Oh, it was the most painful thing." They were so sorry that they did it. The excruciating pain for several months. 6 months later, how do you feel? "Oh, I'm so glad I did this. Oh, now I can walk. My body isn't aching. My hips aren't hurting. My knees aren't hurting. My ankles aren't hurting. I'm so glad I did it." And that's the lesson we have to learn. Going through it can be very painful. Coming out the other end and realize you've learned something and you've healed. That's what's so powerful because you see, what you are healing is you're now completing some or part or most of your karma. And also, you're indirectly creating an epitaph. Well, if Uncle John or Aunt Jane can do this, I can do that. They will think about it. And that is something very powerful. So not only are you creating a wonderful example for everyone to look at, but you're also creating a decision they can make to have a similar operation, knowing that it could be uncomfortable, but at the very end, it'll be worth it. That's what's most important for all of us. What is important for you at this time is to put on blinders, stuff your ears with something, and watch the news a little bit. watch some YouTube or podcasters, the ones you like, a little bit. Then spend the time seeking those things that make you happy. That's what's so important. And manifesting those things that bring you joy. Okay. And that's a very tricky thing to think about. Well, if I had a lot of money, I'd be happy. I'll talk to Steve Jobs, who had $1 billion, and ask that, did it buy his health? No. If you're not happy, whatever you're doing in life, maybe there's a path you can find to make yourself happy. Or maybe you need to make a change. Partially what's occurring now is we're being forced to seek changes in our life. And those changes are what makes your heart sing, to bring about love and joy and happiness. Hanging on to anger, unhappiness, frustrations, holding grudges. Congratulations, because you're going to get the round trip ticket to learn it all over again. I don't know about you, but I don't want to. So it's time to learn. Do you just something you'd like to add?
Yeah, Darshan put in another comment I wanted to share with you, okay? He says, what brings me joy is making people feel good, be happy, and fall madly in love with themselves. He's healing well, and he's focused on his wellness after his accident. And I know he gives thanks to all the healing energies and vibrations that you've been sending him as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Darshan. That's important to make us sing and feel happy. You certainly know what your mission and goal is, but you've only touched the outside of it. I'm trying to find the right word. You've only touched the outer coat. It's going to be much deeper, more powerful, and it's going to be life changing. So, as we would say, hang in there, Snoopy, because things are changing and more things will be happening. Well, we're running a little low on time. Is there anyone else that would like to address anything?
I'm not seeing anything right now. I'm just seeing a couple of big hearts for you.
Thank you.
You're
I'd like
welcome.
to conclude this before I leave some messages. And there are three mottos that I use, sometimes more. But as you know, my branding is that you are unlimited, and remembering you are unlimited. If you don't think so, take a look at your life and what you created. You created, which you came here to learn certain things. And that's great. It's like tasting a soup. You'll find out if you like the soup or not. You don't throw a temper tantrum. You don't curse and scream and yell. Say, I don't like it. So you try another soup. And that's where the true source said to be in control is to be out of control, which means that explore the doors. Insistence creates resistance. Let the doors open up. Try this, try that. See what makes your heart sing. Maybe you'll do something temporarily and it'll lead to another step, to another step, to another step. And that's what's so important. There is always a solution to every crisis in your body. There's always a solution. And the minute I hear people say, yeah, but, yep, congratulations, you just blocked yourself. No, I haven't. Well, if you say yes, but, you're saying my way or the highway, or insistence creates resistance. So I'm asking all of you to be open, to be aware that you are a messenger of change, not only for yourself, but for all those that love you and around you. You are the role model. Because as I say to all of you, we are the solution to this planet, and you and I and all of us can make a difference. And if you don't think so, study the Revolutionary War, where a handful of women and men said, we don't want to be under the yoke of King George. And they were known as the Patriots. And the Tories were pro King George, and they were a minority, the Patriots. But look what happened over a number of years and struggles. And look what happened after the Civil War. There was more parity amongst different races. We became more open to it. So everyone, think about all that. Yes to you.
Okay, we've got a couple more comments from Darshan, if you don't mind. I'd like to share.
Sure.
Okay. He says, and he also loves to make people laugh as well. And he's telling you, you're right. I've only scratched the surface. And Darshan is incredibly open. So um, and Inga's also trying something else experimental. So hey, we've got people that are wanting. I think that you should all be connecting with Michael. He's got his. If you haven't taken him up on, I'm gonna just jump in here really quick on this, Michael. If you haven't taken Michael up on his complimentary consultation, this is a perfect time. Okay, I put all the numbers in there, so reach out and call him. Okay.
Thank you. I want all of you to know as we're concluding that this is not rehearsed. So if I mix up the words or say something or apologize, it's because I'm channeling the information. That's the way I prefer to work instead of writing out a speech and making everything perfect. Because then you know it's not coming from me pre-planned and pre-thought about it. It's all instantaneous, which is what I call channeling. I would like to share this with you, and that is on Tuesday evening, I have what is called Soul Awakening, and it's 6:30 p.m. Pacific time to 7:30 Pacific time. And what it is you come in and you call on free conference call, freeconferencecall.com, and we'll give you the telephone number. So you can be in your bathing suit, your pajamas, we'll never know. And you can ask any question you so desire. Hopefully I'm able to answer that. And then I leave a 10-minute little message. And there are almost 380 of them now, but I'll get into that later. Therefore, I'd like to encourage all of you to join us on Tuesday evenings when you can. You'll learn something new, I'll learn something new, and perhaps I can explain something or help you remember something you forgot all about or something new. The charge is zero. It's your time and participation. I know it's valuable, but if it does change your life and help healing, then you can't put a price tag on it. Do you give them that information, how they can join us?
Absolutely. And by the way, Inga thinks you're perfect.
Oh, thank you.
And Mary West is here too. She's saying hello, and this is a wonderful response. Everybody's interacting over here. So let's get to the phone number. To call in on Tuesday night, the number is 202-926-1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446#. One more time, please.
Absolutely. 202-926-1059. And the code, Michael?
125-446#. And using the same telephone number, the same access code, the second Saturday of every month from 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01 Pacific time. We talk for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, see where you're located, and then we go into a deep meditation. And it's called the Mass Consciousness Healing and Love. What does that really mean? It means that we try to find the right word. We become one, a conduit for the true source, bringing through the love energy. And it comes out through our body and envelops this planet. And it's a pink energy of vibration of love, touching the animal, mineral, and vegetable kingdom. Every human, everything that exists, every atom, nuclei, positron, electron, everything, totally. And many, many beautiful souls have seen this pink, beautiful umbrella covering Mother Earth. Many of you who are listening or in the past have had conversations with ones that have passed over. And last week we had Krishna, who is the avatar of love. Jesus joined us. Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Buddha joined us. It was pretty amazing. And you want to know? You'll see a vision or feel them around you. Then you know they're there. So I encourage all of you to give up 1 hour and 6 minutes of your time. And you know what heals you? The energy of love. It's the highest vibration that will heal you. So just think of getting your monthly dose of unconditional love that the body understands, because your body comes from love, made by love, and of love, and from love. And that's the most healing power. Do you give them that information?
Absolutely. That number is also the same as the Tuesday night number. It's 202-926-1059. 1059 and access code, Michael.
125446 pound. So join us, everyone, with that. Also, as I had alluded, that on the Tuesday evening, on the Soul Awakening, I deliver a 10-minute message. And there's about 385 or 90 of them. I'll have to check the final number. The reason I haven't kept track is I forgot to label what they were. And True Source said, no, you don't. You want somebody to read through 390 different titles? I don't have patience. So this is where you have to trust your soul. So you tune in, you call in, I don't know, number 307 sounds nice. And I get a call, gee, just what I needed to hear, because your soul will direct you. And that's what's so important. So if you're tired, you're stuck in traffic, you're angry, you're upset, you're bored, or perhaps, you're home, you're alone, then you can listen to that on your phone. Or there are a limited number of those on YouTube, and it's Dr. Michael B. Gross at YouTube, if you so desire. There are a limited number of those, but it includes all our podcasts that we've been doing as well as those. And you'll see an award-winning picture by award-winning photographer, Tio Knapp, and there's a little quote, and then you hear me talking about it. Everyone, I encourage you all to do so. Tio, give them that information.
I would be happy to. The recordings are at 434-300-4170 and the access code, Michael?
125446 pound. And when they ask you for this, Tia's going to give the number again, but when they ask you for this, starts at number 3, and they'll ask you what number you desire. So anywhere from number 3 up to 390. Tia, give them that number again.
Absolutely. It's 434-300-4170 and code, Michael?
Same access code, 125446 pound. So thank you very much. And I'd like to address something else, and that is the International Institute of Self-Empowerment, which we call TIISE, TICE, will be coming out with a book. I'm going to leave you hanging there. I'm not going to tell you what the book's about, but it's something that's going to be very beautiful. And is when we get through all the editing and so on, it's a compilation of work that Tia and I put together. So I'm sure you're going to be really happy to see it. So we're going to leave you with a little teaser. All right. Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to talk about something else, something we believe that's very important. And what it is our books. This is a book written by Tio Knapp, and this is a book I got to get my hands focused on a little better. And this book is called Healing the Holes in Your Soul. And it's all about a woman who's gone through trials and tribulations of life, who has been stuck in life, who is abused in life. And like the mythological bird, the phoenix rose from the ashes. This is inspiring. It's very powerful. It's great to read. As I say before, I like the guy that wrote the foreword. He's great. So everyone, I encourage you. Tio will tell you how to get these books.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michael, for your kind words about my book. And I also like the guy who wrote the foreword, because that's the guy holding the book. It's you, Michael. And This is the Spiritual Primer by Dr. Michael Gross. And in my world, this book is priceless to me. It's totally changed my life with all the work that Michael has done. He kicked me in the, rear end and said, you need to write your own book. And so I did. And if it wasn't for him, his coaching, his mentoring, and his beautiful book that I've read over and over again, the book he's holding wouldn't even be in existence. So definitely start with this book. And in order to get this book, reach out to us on one of the, either on Facebook, or you can call us or email us. It's all in the contact information below. And that way you can get a signed copy, a personally signed copy of the book. Michael's aren't on Amazon right now because he sold out. One of the final book was selling for I think it was $500 or something, right, Michael?
Yes, it's priceless.
And, Well, I think it's priceless, but I don't know if I have anything left on Amazon. I'm going to have to check. But anyway, just get in touch with us because Amazon can't get a signed copy anyway. Right, Michael?
Thank you. Correct. And if you order your book from T or I, whatever the retail price of the book is, I think is $29.95 or $29.99. It includes shipping and handling and something personal written to you. So it isn't kind of the book, and it's $29.95, and it's $50 for shipping and handling, and we throw in a 3 set of Ginzo knives. So we don't do that kind of thing. Whatever the price is, we included in it, and a little special message. And so I wanted to share that, all that with you. Also, I wanted to share with you, as TU said, that I do offer a complimentary session. So please take me up on it. And anything you want to share or anything, questions you may have in advance when you join us on Thursday nights, please tell others. And if they can't join us, tell them to watch the reruns because they're 5-star rated. Ask me and I tell you, I gave it 5 stars. Little humor there. So everybody, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Those of us who just experienced Father's Day here, I hope you honored your fathers or they were with us and think fondly of each other. And all of you, I want you to understand I appreciate you. And as I always say, you are unlimited. Thank you, everyone. We love you all.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Take care, everyone.
We love you. See
Love
you next
you.
Thursday.